Rev up your engines!
Well, you know, the government here is trying to make people make electric batteries in the United States with this little tax credit thing, right? They've made America. They're trying to stop the Chinese from taking over. Well, guess what? It isn't working too good because the Chinese battery giant, CATL, which if you always wanted to know what it means, it stands for Contemporary Amperex Technology. That's why they call it CATL. It has nothing to do with cows, right? They reported an 83% jump in profits. 83%. So our little, oh, you can't buy them from China, that isn't working because the rest of the world is buying them from China. They're the biggest manufacturer of battery cells for electric cars, and they're going all out, balls to the wall, building these electric batteries, and they're making a fortune doing it. The net income was 9.8 billion won of the first quarter. Compared to the last quarter, it was 1.5 billion won. That is a really gigantic increase. So they're going to put $4 million in infrastructure in Southeast Asia and Indonesia, where there's a lot of the raw materials for making the batteries. They're going full out. Yeah, and this little, oh, we won't give you a tax credit if you're using Chinese battery, it's not really slowing them down one iota. And of course, they're smart. They have lower raw material costs because they're buying the mines and stuff, so they're running it themselves. They're not depending on other people. The problem with people like Tesla is they're buying these batteries from other companies. They don't own the mines. They don't supply the lithium and the nickel. They're buying it from other people. The Chinese are getting vertical integration, which the Americans used to do. Henry Ford did that, right? Not anymore. And it's biting them in the rear end. If anything, Chinese are beating the Americans at their own game. They're becoming the Henry Ford of electric cars. They're getting their own vertical integration. While the Americans are buying health, oh, we'll get it from over here, we'll get it from over there. We'll make some weird laws to try to make it work. No, Chinese are eating their lunch. They obviously are good business people. They understand. And changing a little law here and there, and then that ends up having us as taxpayers in the United States giving billions of dollars to companies to make electric batteries over here and that, you know, we're giving our taxpayer dollars to these corporations, which I thought we lived in a capitalist economy, but I guess not. It's socialism for corporation economy. It's what it basically comes down to. And then we are in a capitalist end having to pay the taxes to pay for this stuff. Well, Stellantis is getting a new chief financial officer, and it really makes me wonder to think of what these people are doing. Richard Palmer had Bennett before, when it was Fiat Chrysler, before it merged with Stellantis, and they're replacing him with Natalie Knight. Now, it's a car company, right? Fiat Chrysler, Peugeot, Stellantis, right? Who is this person? Their last job was chief financial officer of a food retail company, selling food, right? For the life of me, I don't comprehend these people. You're in the car business, your chief financial officer should know an awful lot about the car business. This isn't food. You're not selling cabbage and strawberries. You're selling cars. I don't comprehend where these people get a bee in their bonnet of, oh, it's a great person for being our chief financial officer. Did a great job with the food industry. I want a surgeon, right? Do I want the surgeon to previously have been a sanitation engineer and now he's a surgeon? No, I don't. I want somebody with experience in that particular field and a lot of good experience, not, well, I did a good job at that food company. Let's see what you can do with cars, right? It just totally amazes me the nonsense that these corporations come up with ideas. You'd think if they're in the car business, let's hire car people who understand the business, not somebody who understands the food business. But, you know, that's corporations for you. They're all dead from the neck up. I wouldn't buy a Stellantis product anyway. Fiat Chrysler, definitely not Peugeot. So if you're smart, be like me. Don't buy their products. You can just laugh at the nonsense that they do, you know. Maybe they'll start having fruit products given away with their cars or something. Who knows? Ty says, why does my AC blow at full blast sometimes and sometimes it doesn't when it's set on full blast? I got a 93 S10. One or two things are wrong. Your blower motor could be wearing out, or it's so easy to get to. Just unbolt it and take it out. There might be dirt or leaves in there clogging it up. They get stuck and then it won't blow full blast, right? Try that. Now, if that's not it, if your motor isn't just old and worn out or full of leaves, you change the motor, let's say, and it does the same thing, then you would want to change the blower motor resistor assembly that's next to it. That's what give it the speeds. And if that's burning out, then it won't go full blast sometimes because the resistor burns out and it won't give you full speed. So it could be that. Normally, though, that thing's so old, you probably find squirrels inside it or something. It is a squirrel cage fend. I guess maybe the squirrel side. Hey, it's a squirrel cage. It's named after us, so let's go in there. Tim White says, Scotty, what do you think of the new Mazda CX90 with the inline 6 engine? I'm thinking it's a BMW killer. Mazda's decided we're going to make an inline 6. They put a lot of technology in it. I can't wait to try one out. It's interesting technology. We'll see how over time how they hold up. If they have problems or not. Mazda usually makes pretty good engines, though. It was always their trannies they had problems with. So it'll be interesting to see. I like the specs. I've read about them, but I haven't seen one yet. So Harold Shubbock says, Scotty, how can you tell if a car was in a flood? Very good question. You do not want to buy a flooded out car. I've had customers that bought flooded out cars, and sometimes as late as 3 years later, all the electronics go out. It's the salt water or regular water is rusting inside all the computers and wiring, and it craps everything out. So one of the best ways is go under the dash and look with a flashlight and take out the rugs, take the rug mats and look underneath. If it's all rusty, walk away. Water gets inside. Nobody ever dries the inside out perfectly. There'll be rust, corrosion, and a real easy way to tell is when people do flood them out. They take the rugs out and dry them. Well, underneath the rugs is a layer of insulation to make it nice and cushy, right? You look under that rug and that's not there. The rug is on the bare metal. I guarantee it was in a flood because that's what people just throw away. That's so full of, it's like old rags, that underlayment, and they just throw those away and then just put the rugs back on. So if you see there's only rugs and there's none of the underlayment, just like carpet in a house, well, they'll put that underlayment. If there isn't any, it's probably been flooded. Walk away. And of course, look in the trunk, open it up, look under the spare tire. If it's all full of water and rust, it's probably been flooded. There's lots of ways you can look. And of course, smell. If it's all moldy, it's flooded, you don't want to buy it. Peter Pan says, Scotty, how do you get your windows in your car smear-free and dust-free? It's a pain. Well, there's lots of ways. There's many cleaners out there, right? But one of the best, as snotty as it sounds, is vinegar and water. Like half vinegar, half water, put it in a spray bottle. Clean it, and a lot of guys used to use newspapers. For some reason, newspapers were good for cleaning windshield. Who would have thought that, right? But who the heck reads newspapers these days? Nobody, right? Where are you going to find a newspaper? I use those nice blue shop towels. Scott shop towels, named after me. I don't own the company, but I use them all the time. Vinegar and water and a shop towels. Now, if you got a really messed up car, the first thing you can do is use vinegar and water and get brand new razor blades, safety razor blades, and you can scrape all the crud off with vinegar and water, then spray more vinegar and water, then use the shop towels, and you'll eventually get all the crud off. Rissy says, saw the Consumer Reports ranking. BMW's at number 3 under Toyota Lexus. Just traded my 22 X3 for a 23 Venza. Feeling regret. I should have kept my BMW since the ranking has improved. Ranking schmanking. Don't listen to those idiots at those consumer things. They don't know anything about cars. BMW X3s are one of the biggest money pit vehicles ever made. Now, it's 22, right? It's a year-old car, and you got a 23 Venza. If you keep buying a car every year, it doesn't matter what car you buy. Generally, you're not going to fall apart. You buy a car every year or 2 years. Even the worst cars in the world generally don't fall apart until they're older than that. So you don't mind spending all that money. That's your money. But don't believe these ranking systems. They're a bunch of nonsense. Total nonsense saying that BMWs are high rated. They're endless money pits. They haven't made them any better than they used to make. If anything, they're worse. These stupid consumer rating companies, I don't know how it works, but I know years ago, I knew guys that wrote for some of those. I said, what do they pay you for articles? And it was like $500. I'm like, how can you live on that tiny amount of money? $500, 12 times a year is not much money, It's almost all part-time people who don't even work directly for the company. They're contract labor, so I wouldn't listen to a word those people say if they're going to rank things like that. Excel says, I got a 99 Explorer, 208,000 miles. It leaks gas when the car's running, only when it's running. It comes out around when the gas tank is, but only when it's running. Well, you got a leak in the fuel line. The fuel line is only pressurized when you're running a car. And so when you're running a car, the fuel line has pressure and it's leaking out. Go under there and find out what's leaking. Unfortunately, it used to be they were just steel and rubber lines. Well, now they got a bunch of plastic crap, and if you see a leak, you got to buy a whole gigantically long plastic assembly in order to fix it correctly. But you got a leak in the line somewhere, because when you shut the car off, the pump doesn't pump, and then it's not going to leak. So it's not the gas tank. It would leak the whole time, whether you use it or not. It means that you got a leak in the line somewhere. Well, my 4K says, Scotty, when I turn off my car, radiator fluid dumps out, but there's no leaks when it's on. What could it be? Well, when you shut your car off, believe it or not, that's the hottest it ever gets. That's a hot soap. When you're running your car, the fan's blowing, the water pump's circulating the water through the radiator, cooling it. As soon as you shut off the car, all that stops. The residual heat in the engine gets it even hotter. Now, if you're really lucky, the only thing wrong is your radiator cap is worn out. The radiator cap holds pressure. And if you know anything about physics, the higher the pressure inside a sealed system, the higher the temperature water can get and it won't boil. But if the cap's leaking, the high pressure is gone. Instead of having 15 to 17 pound pressure, if it leaks out and you have no pressure, then it will boil out all over the place. So pray it's just a bad radiator cap. It often is. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.